Okay, take two. This director's commentary for the Blackburn station, the Forest Hill Shopping Centre Sunrise Walk, subtitled Morning Has Broken. I am still the bloke who walks, and this is still this walking life. I was nearly going to say this is your walking life. That would be a throwback to my childhood, to the mesmerising Sunday night program when I was a kid. This is your life. It was some sort of show. Anyway, hopefully we're four directors' commentaries into this new YouTube channel, and I hope that the viewing experience is as good as This Is Your Life. This walking life. Now, I've only just finished the edit of this video for the third time. The third time, and the reason being is that YouTube has flagged me on the first two drafts. Well, they weren't drafts, they were finished. YouTube flagged me. The first time I uploaded, flagged me for a copyright claim, and I reviewed what they said, and I can tell you what it said. Just going to my little where is it? I'm just going to my little YouTube and it was flagged first and second time for more or less the same thing, but for different music. Channel impact not affected. Visibility premiere, because I post-dated the uploading of this particular video for a premiere, which I am using as a strategy to get ahead of the curve. But monetization, ineligible. The content identified in your video listed below. Content used, particular song, claim type, music, impact on the video. Video cannot be monetized. Ad revenue paid to copyright owner. And then select action, trim, replace, mute, dispute. Well, no. So I've tried very specifically the first three directors' commentaries to share for anyone that's interested, whether you're new or old or bored or otherwise, but mainly this commentary is for my own benefit, that I want to verbalise, get it out of my head and off my chest, and boy do I need to get things off my chest today. Just for my own benefit, that I sit and watch in full this video, just to see how it plays. It's like, when you write something for publication, whether it's an essay for high school or university, or whether it's something for work, or an email that you got to send, or a creative piece of writing. Like I really enjoy the editing process with the written word, and it's like a 2x4. You're just chipping and planing, crafting, and I see the written word. And now that I'm an amateur video editor and cameraman and tech guy in post-production, I enjoy that just as much, actually. So for the benefit of the viewer, or people that just don't know anything about how a video comes together, and in this case a video for YouTube, well, I thought the value in this video, the last video I talked about my creative choices, filming, why I chose certain filming technique, why the software I chose, the style, why I've decided to err on the side of having a shaky handheld camera as opposed to a steady gimbal, keeping the camera perfectly still. So in this video, because this particular video has been so frustrating, I reckon I've spent easily nearly what's today? Today is Wednesday, possibly since Sunday, no, Saturday. So nearly 3.5 days straight just working on one video, and it's all been because of the copyright flag flagged into my admin by YouTube. And when I was filming this video, I figured that I would strike. It would possibly be an issue, and but it didn't deter me from my filming, which I always intend it to be organic, and whatever happens in front of me as I'm walking and filming, whatever happens in front of me, I'm not going to edit out anything or try and mute anything. And I've seen other, especially walking video content, I've seen other content producers, all of a sudden the video goes mute when they're walking down a street and it's in a tightly packed street. They're walking past bars. All of a sudden the video goes mute. Now that's great for handling the music side of things, because that's why they've done it. But what it does at the same time is it cuts out all the other interesting stuff, all the chatter, all the streetscape noise, all the ambience. And so I don't want to do that. I want to retain as much as possible the real authentic recording captured at the time by this by this very capable little digital handheld camera that I've got. So I thought I'd talk to you about that, because so I wasn't too perturbed when the first copyright flag came up. These videos, I'm finding that I'm starting to bed down my production process. But these, the long form videos that are, from one place to another, anywhere between an hour, 90 minutes. The longest video has been 2 hours, 20 minutes. They don't really take a long time to edit and put together. But I get slowed down by the processing speed of my hard drive, which is, that's just life. But I also get slowed down by the processing speed of the actual software, and not too much. But what affects that is just the automatic software updates from Windows and Adobe, and the antivirus software, Trend software that I use, and does my head in. It does my head in, because you can control Windows updates, but with my particular laptop, with Windows, Bill Gates, he's very clever. They don't want you avoiding updates for long. And what I've found is that the more time that goes past between updates, my hard drive actually is slowed down remotely by Windows. They actually somehow managed to, somehow, it's a deliberate ploy to make you update. So I managed to change those updates. But with Adobe is just an absolute it's a ball breaker, to quote the Sopranos. Why are they breaking my balls? But while you're editing the video, it doesn't, the changes that I make as I'm going, I can't affect the changes as fast as what's happening in my brain, and that gets a bit frustrating. But the real slow point, which I always knew would be a factor, because it was a factor with Windows Movie Maker when I was using that, it just takes a while to pump out and process and render, from being a software file to a finished MP3, 4. So a 2-hour file, might take, a 2-hour length file might take just over 2.25 hours to process. So when I got flagged by YouTube after I uploaded the second video, well, I was a touch more interested and not pissed off, but just, shrug of the shoulders, oh bugger, because I thought I'd covered myself by disguising or shielding the noise. So to explain, and again, apologies that it takes me a while to get to the point. That's just my nature, so apologies there. But that's just who I am. Succinct and to the point isn't really my go. But so the issue was that with this walk, the bulk of it being outdoors again, but in lockdown, I've just found that I've within my 1 hour, going back to when it was 1 hour exercise a day, and the 4 reasons to leave home. Well, I found that because my circumstances permit, I can go out shopping once a day, every day. So I found that the 20 to 25 minute walk one way to my local shopping centre, where the cinemas are as well, and everything that you need. It's a really pleasant walk, and I often walk the reverse way if I go to the movies. And in winter, it's a nice brisk walk that wakes you up after you sort of comfy, and you walk quickly, and the 20 minutes goes. But there's some. It just struck me that there's some really really video friendly and content friendly scenery within my local area that I thought, well, a trip to the shops. So that's where it sprung from. But the issue was that when I got to the shopping centre, and naturally this shopping centre, like so many around the world, piped music to lull the shoppers into that false sense of retail security. So they open their wallets and they're relaxed and not thinking too much, and not and pretty relaxed in a good shopping and retail spending mood. So when this video is actually my first attempt at filming content for YouTube, and I thought to myself as I was doing it, well, there's no way of avoiding the music, so I'll just film and walk around. And so that's what YouTube picked up, that even though the ambient music in the background of the mall and the shops wasn't very prominent, it still picked it up. So that's actually a huge tick of approval. On the other side of things, to the quality of my camera, that even though it's a little digital handheld point and shoot, it's about 6-7 years old. Fancy a little microphone embedded within the camera itself. It does pick up such good sound quality that YouTube flags it. So with my first draft of this particular video, Blackburn Station to Forest Hill Chase Shopping Centre, when I attempted the correcting and trying to disguise what was going on, this is the first video where I've used a second piece of copyright-free music. And I didn't really want to do that. I'm very particular about branding as a producer, whether it's the written word or logos, and now for this video content, that I'm very particular that I want this content. I want it to have a personality. I want it to have intros and outros and credits and music. This is the first time I've created content for YouTube where I've really gone out of my way to look for copyright-free music, and as low maintenance as that can possibly be for me. So long as it sounds right to my ear, I'm happy. And there's a lot of happy accidents actually occurring in my creative and post-production process. So I used a second song, and I tried to make it as unobtrusive as possible for the viewer experience. I didn't want too much jarring audio, jumping between songs. But um, when I finished the second um, go at the same video, this one, yeah, unfortunately, some gaps that I left where I thought the music was quite soft in the background, or obscured by the noise of the escalators. YouTube flagged it again. YouTube flagged it again, and by this stage I was up to maybe Sunday night or Monday morning, and I've been unbelievably grumpy, because there's nothing more frustrating than working on the same thing a third time. Losing motivation, and the novelty's wearing off, and like, what you want, and you've actually got a pretty fair finished product, but there's nothing you can do now. I'm still learning how the YouTube partner program works. I'm really not too fussed about doing too much research. I just want maximum return on the investment of my time. So if there's a possibility, so when it says impact on the video, the flag, and it says video cannot be monetized, ad revenue paid to the copyright owner, well, to me that doesn't explain fully. Is it just the 56.5 seconds of the video that they've flagged, or is it the whole video in this case? And it's I think this video is about how long is it? It's about an hour and 15, this one. Well, I don't want any of my content. I'm not working for anyone but me, thank you very much. So it was with a great deal of gritted teeth that I went back to the editing process once again, and it's easy enough to fix. This is what I want to make really clear, that it's easy to fix, and it boils down to your preferences. Yes, I could have muted. I just could have muted it, but to me, that's not what this channel's about. This channel's about content that sees and records everything as I'm experiencing it, because I want this channel and its content to be quite immersive. That's the whole idea. It's a slice of life video that I'm presenting every time I upload. I want this to be a slice of life type experience. So that's been the editing experience. So I've been incredibly grumpy since about Thursday last week. What's today? Today's Wednesday. And over the weekend, I was fairly self-aware of what was going on, but the last couple of days, I just, and I just was thinking, well, I've really got no right to be grumpy. In fact, I don't want to be grumpy. Like, it's not that I was wallowing in negativity. It's just it just took hold and didn't let go. So in the meantime, I've been out shopping again. I've been out recorded another video going around Blackburn Lake, which is my first real specifically nature-focused video content to break up all these walking through streets and around train stations. So it's not like I haven't been outside and I've been locked in a dark room and haven't let myself go out. I'm not that obsessed. But I take a lot of pride in my content and what I produce, and it needs to meet a certain standard for me. Oh, here we are in the video. I'm just entering Furness Park, the little nature trail through Blackburn. I've just got down the end of this street, Gardenia Street. I'm trying out. I'm not afraid to try out different camera angles, and I crouched down behind the little behind the little barrier there, and that didn't come off at all. didn't come off at all. So we'll pretend we didn't see that. But this is on a Saturday morning, and what I was keen to do was not only get up and get out early, but take advantage of some wet weather. That there was a lot of rain overnight. Also, I wanted to get out in the lockdown. People have been fairly uh, people have been pretty quiet around here in the mornings. That normally, well, this area, you can see how nice it is to walk through. This does attract a lot of walkers and joggers and people with their dogs and things. And I'm pretty keen to capture for the time being. I'm still not used to walking around with a camera, holding a camera in front of my belt buckle. And you can see this technique coming into play that I've invented for myself for my own purposes, just to make it a bit more interesting. Where I'm just weaving from side to side of the path, and then when I get onto the road later on, you'll see me weaving from one side to the other. And I just think that makes for a more natural viewing experience, given that it is a handheld camera, but instead of swinging and swiveling the camera around, what I've found works for me when I'm walking, and I'm hoping it's translating to what you're seeing on the screen as we go, that if I do fairly small circles where I'm just walking a circle slowly, and it's just revealing the scenery around me to the naked eye, and hopefully translating back to the camera. Now, the other thing, I'm not absolutely obsessed with walking from point A to point B in a straight line. It makes sense to stop and take my time. Normally, I'd do this walk from the station to the shopping centre. I'd do it in about 20 minutes at a decent clip, but that doesn't make any sense for it's walking content. So why not? Why not stop and for anyone that's never been to Australia, never been to Melbourne, maybe you think maybe you think Melbourne is like the outback, that there's lots of desert, or maybe you didn't realise that there's creeks and whatever running through. I used to work for 3 years at Victoria University in the city, one of our lower tier universities here at the lower end of the food chain in the tertiary sector, and my job was marketing communications for international students. And I used to every year. The highlight of my job for me was we had to do a photo shoot of students who were studying in Melbourne, but were from overseas, Germany or Europe, study abroad, or Victoria University specifically targets Southeast Asia. So any Southeast East Asian country you care to name, we had students from those countries studying there. But one year I was doing the photo shoot, and it was generally something that took 2, 3 full days, different groups of students. And I had these 2 young German guys, and they were telling me quite excitedly for their holiday break. I was asking them what they were going to do, because a lot of students come to Melbourne, especially the Southeast Asian students, and it's not picking them out or picking on them, but it's their culture. Is they're here to work, and boy, do they work. And they don't really come here for the lifestyle or the tourism or the nature. They spend most of their 3 years studying. They spend it working very diligently and making sure that they're but the Europeans, different story. They want to get out and see things. And these 2 guys, for their break, they were going to go to Ayers Rock. And I'm giggling because the next part of the story is that the next time I saw them, which I didn't have much to do with students face to face, but I did happen to see them because although we couldn't pay these students for their time, for their amateur modelling skills to end up on our front covers of our course guides, these guys came in to see me if I could, if the photos were ready yet, that they could, because the hook was that we give them free copies of the photos, even the ones that didn't appear in the marketing collateral. And they came in to see me to ask me if the copies were ready, and so we got talking about their holidays. And I said, "Oh, how was how was your break? Did you like Alice Springs?" And you should have seen their faces. The they hated it. They had no idea that it took so long to travel from Melbourne to Adelaide, Adelaide to Alice Springs, and they said it was just desert. There was nothing to look at. There's nothing to look at except for desert, and it was the same all the way. There was no break in the scenery. um, so yeah, I just I had a giggle at their expense, but that's travelling, isn't it? Just finding out what things are really like. So that's why I'm taking my time with these videos, meandering, walking. It was about this spot in the video that I was aware of someone behind me, a long way behind me, walking their dog. And as I said, I'm still not used to holding a camera in public at this time of morning. It's about 6:45, and I felt pretty self-conscious. And I'm very, at the moment, I am deliberately avoiding filming people, and especially children. So at the lake yesterday, yeah, there's quite a few families out and a few little toddlers and some kids between 2 and 3 and 4, and I took great care not to point the camera anywhere near them, in fact the opposite way, but without stopping and breaking the connectivity of the experience. So yeah, so this is my local area, Blackburn. It's in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne, if you don't know Melbourne. And this is typical of anywhere in Sydney or Tasmania, but this sort of park is quite particular to this area. That there is a legislated local government heritage overlay over this area. That all this land is protected. This Blackburn is not famous. I won't say famous. Blackburn's doesn't roll off the tip of the tongue of any tourist that's coming to Melbourne. Gee, I've got to go to Blackburn and walk through Furnace Park, which we're in now, or I've got to go to Blackburn Lake. Blackburn Lake has Blackburn Lake doesn't come up to scratch against Puffing Billy, that's for sure. But on the other hand, this is a great area to live. It's a really popular area with the local residents, and they're very proud of it and jealous of it. Blackburn had a reputation when the area was being settled in the 1800s. It was one of the most or more popular areas for Australia's emerging artists, and there was blokes doing their thing out in Heidelberg and Blackburn in the mid 1850s, 60s, and 70s. So this area, Blackburn, they're keen to keep it the way it is, and there hasn't been much development in the streets of Blackburn as opposed to the streets of where I grew up in Balwyn, which pretty much there's no original house left standing in Balwyn, including the one I grew up in. But Blackburn, yeah, a bit of a different story. The houses, not too many weatherboard houses really, and like Box Hill, so a lot of brick houses, a lot of established large blocks, and any very large blocks are slowly, ever so slowly, being turned into large blocks of units and townhouses. So this was my first opportunity with this video to also concentrate on the nature side of things. Here's a pretty below average creek, but for the purposes of recording it, luckily for me there's a fair bit of water. This water is runoff from Blackburn Lake. This creek usually, I've got a bit of a hang up with the Australian river system and ecosystem, that I would have loved to have seen it during the days of early settlement, before development, before things were dammed up or diverted away from settlement. I don't know if anyone realises who doesn't know their Australian history, but Melbourne was actually founded on a floodplain, and well into the 1900s, the early 1900s, big time, 1970s. What am I talking about? Elizabeth Street and Flinders Street Station would regularly get flooded during the peak rains, which would come every 5-10 years before climate change. This particular little creek normally doesn't have this much water in it. Normally never flows like this, so I sort of lucked out, which is why I spent so much time there, and that hopefully also, the video then adds there's a bit of extra value with a bit of nature sound as opposed to built up area sound. And why not? It's just hopefully nice to look at it from a viewing experience point of view, and hopefully unexpected, because this video is would it be the fourth long-form video that I'll be publishing, and it's the first one, that deliberately doesn't go near a train station or a bike path. So I deliberately, made sure I filmed these signs to sort of drive home that Blackburn is a wildlife area. I'm going to split this long form video into two shorter ones to keep that going, because it makes sense to create as much content as I can out of the original footage that I filmed. So so it's, let's see, I've just this is fresh off the racks. This is the third version of this video that I've created, and I've uploaded it to YouTube, and I will do a refresh on my screen, and you can join with me in cheering, because it looks like it's just refreshing now. Visibility, premiere, restrictions, none. So this is good. This is the third video I've uploaded, of this third version of this video I've uploaded, and I've left the other two up there for my own administrative purposes. So as soon as I finish the commentary, I'll delete those. So this one is scheduled for release on the 23rd of October, which is in 2 days' time. So I'm trying like mad to get ahead, because I want to get a week and a half ahead of the publishing schedule. I've got to split this one up into two. This commentary will be the third. Then I've got to upload the commentary for the Blackburn to Mitcham, so that'll put me into Thursday next week. And the reason I want to get ahead is because I want to spend some dedicated time just finessing some video content descriptions in the descriptor box for each video. I want to do a little bit of research into crafting the thumbnails possibly a bit better for these videos. If you've got any feedback about the thumbnails so far for these particular videos, I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to be honest. Like I'm probably like any other new content producer for YouTube or for a channel. I'm just learning as I go along, and I think the best teacher is experience. So far, like I'm not, as I've mentioned in the first director's commentary, I'm really not fussed about stats. I think the multiplier effect will be key for the growth of any channel, I guess. So I figure why not go for gold and try and upload as many videos as possible daily. Makes sense to me. And these videos, the great thing about walking tour video content, walking around video content, is that it's very simple to edit. All right, so let's go back to let's get some more stuff off my chest. Let's go back to my grumpy period over the last few days. So why else was I grumpy? Well, I finished the I finished the third edit to meet the YouTube copyright claim. I finished the third edit. I think it was on Sunday afternoon, so that's 3 days ago. And I was so proud of myself. I was feeling fairly motivated, and I thought, I know, I'll just so that's what I did Sunday. I created a reaction video, which I'd never planned on doing, but anyway, more on that later possibly. But so Sundays, I'm taking one day off a week away from no laptop, no YouTube, no filming, no like a real proper day off, and it feels great to be in a routine, to be honest, in that regard. So the reaction video I decided to do on the Sunday to keep it timely and contemporary in conjunction with Melbourne's announced easing of restrictions. We're no longer in super hard lockdown, but we've still got 2 weeks before our shops and businesses, hospitality and things like that open. But I was on a roll, so I decided to stay on the laptop on Sunday afternoon. I thought, I'll just do a teaser. Like I haven't really done a proper teaser, and I've done a trailer, like a teaser trailer. I hope you've seen the video, the shortened version where it starts off where I'm actually filming myself from a distance, ordering coffee. Some people with a dog walked past, and and they actually saw the camera. And for a second I thought they were going to claim it and just walk off with it, but that's about 10 minutes long, and each video you may or may not have noticed, I've also snuck in a trailer for another project I've got, which by rights has no right to be on the end of these videos. It's not walking around video content. It's just me trying to cross promote. So I figured it won't take long to create a teaser trailer out of this Blackburn to Forest Hill Chase Shopping Centre video footage. So I'll just do that. Well, can you believe that it's taken me another 2.5, 3 days? It's taken me another 2.5, 3 days just to create a 3-minute video, because now, and this is why I'm keen to verbalise this and speak about this in a director's commentary sense, because maybe other people might find it helpful or interesting, but just to be clued up about is that the reason it took me so long is because this is the editing process for you. Is that you're basically, creating a brand new video, even though it's only 3 minutes, and you're deciding on the spur of the moment, like, what am I going to chop out? And then you start getting creative. But what I should be doing with the 3-minute trailers is that this trailer ended up being maybe 8 minutes long, and it still had the 2 songs in it. But you got to kill your babies. Is a common saying, when it comes to creating anything. Like, you've got to. So it took me until today to really take the chainsaw to the whole thing, and just base it on with one piece of music. Not worry. And what I was doing the trouble is that I had a lot of shopping centre video footage still in there, so I still had to cover off the audio that it wasn't going to get flagged, and I was mucking around too much with I really enjoy putting in the special effects, like dissolves and transitions and effects, and that just slows it up. And then when you've got to marry in the editing software, you've got to marry one clip to the next or just within. So all this takes time, and my goal is, and I have to keep reminding myself, because it's easy to get sucked in. You get in a zone and you're enjoying what you're doing, but you get in a zone and time goes so quickly that all this fiddling around, and then once I realise that I'm actually taking a long time. Well, there's you can't get the time back, and there's no point stopping and going, oh well, don't worry about it. No, I want to finish it. So that's why it took me until today to finish the video clip, and I managed to upload it before I went to lunch at around 1:30 today. So I've not been concentrating. I'm supposed to be watching the footage while I'm talking, and I'm actually not. I'm staring out the window. I'm watching my neighbours walk past. I'm mentally taking notice of the roses flowering on the huge overgrown bush, deliberately overgrown, I might add, outside my boardroom window here at the Home Office. But I've just noticed that we're into the 40-minute mark of this video, so we're halfway through, which I'm sure will please anyone that's been through the 90-minute or 2-hour videos to date. But so this is actually another pleasant thing about Blackburn is there's quite a few of these streets around, and this is one of my favourites to walk down from whichever direction I'm coming. Usually I'm going the other way home from the cinema at night, and this street is fantastic at night in the winter. It's incredibly crisp and quiet. You can see there's no traffic whatsoever. You never see, you would have seen at the start of the street, there's a tennis court on the left with some pine trees in front. I've never seen a tennis ball hit in anger. And doesn't they say something about modern life? In the 70s when I was growing up, this street would have had at least one cricket match on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, or especially a late evening with daylight saving. Those cars would be in danger of dints from tennis balls. About down the end of this cul-de-sac, we're going all the way straight to the end. We're going in an easterly direction at the moment. We're coming up to a basketball ring. On the street, I've never seen kids playing basketball, or adults for that matter, but that's just a sign of the times, isn't it? Like, we've evolved into a society and a culture in the Western world that we just don't do things outdoors anymore with our kids. And I can tell you that before this pandemic, well, since the pandemic started, especially in March, I've never seen so many people out walking these streets. Like, I don't have a car. I haven't owned a car since 2008. And I don't need one. As you can see, I spend. It's easy for me to get around on foot, but I've never ever seen so many people out walking. It's incredible, and all ages, demographics, cultures. It's just incredible. So this is one of my favourite houses here on this street. It is huge, this block of land. I don't know how many people live there. Is it a young family, or has a young family moved back in with the parents so they can all live in the same house under these incredibly strict restrictions that are all around the world? Like the UK, Europe is just about going into meltdown with, as I speak, with the huge return of numbers back to the levels in March. It's just incredible. It's just a mind-bending experience, isn't it? So these are a couple of my favourite properties that I like to make sure that I look at and enjoy visually while I'm walking this street. That's a sign we got local government elections at the moment, and it's all by post, of course. And here's the lonely, forlorn-looking basketball ring. That's another house. I mean, imagine having to mow those lawns. that grass doesn't really grow much. Or unless they get it mowed once a week. Now, this is an example of the filming technique I've invented. Instead of swinging the camera around in an arc, with the fact that it's handheld, I figured, and the shaking the camera there is I'm just checking the time, and that was an edit there. That the camera, this particular, when the camera, the SD card has an hour and a quarter. Which is much bigger capacity than I've had in the past, but it's still, the camera only records for 10 minutes at a time, and I find that quite handy because it makes me concentrate. So what was I saying? I've gone all Billy Connolly. I can't remember. Anyway, so yeah, this meandering technique backwards and forwards, I figure Oh yeah, I was walking in a circle. So walking in a circle, I figure is a better viewing experience. That I don't want to film absolutely everything, but I want to capture what's in front of me. And I figure that if I walk in a semicircle, and like I would never walk this way through this street because there's no need. I would never walk that far to the left when really what I'd want to do is just go up that path. But it just made sense for the filming. And this is my other favourite house. I just love this house. It's just so different to the eye, isn't it? Like I don't know if it comes off on the camera the same it does in real life, but that's a huge gum tree out the front, and whoever designed this house, you can see going up to the roof, not just the second story, that full wall of glass, and just just um just before the cinemas. Oh, these aren't ducks, but they were squawking away, and I tried to capture the squawk. They were trying to mate. But I did have cause to stop one morning just before the cinemas shut down for this. I was passing and they were in their garden. I never see anyone there, but I did approach them and I just said, "Excuse me, I've just got to let you know that I really love your house, and I always generally stop or slow down at the very least to admire your house because it's just so striking, and I really enjoy it. So I just thought I'd let you know because I know my mum, and she used to love her garden. Now, I deliberately filmed this because I was saying before in this commentary earlier in this that people really do take pride in Blackburn. There's a lot of long-term residents here, and I'm actually one of them. It's in December. It's 30 years since I bought my little property here, my one-bedroom unit, and people are very, very proud of the aesthetic of the nature and the trees. We're all absolutely heartbroken when a lot of our trees disappeared 4 years ago because they took out the level crossing, and they had to dig a trench up the hill towards Nuttawading. That's a whole other story and another YouTube channel actually. Bit of more cross promotion, but I'm taking the mickey out of that property owner because whenever I walk past and I see that sign, "We oppose inappropriate development," I sort of think to myself, well, the land that they built on was probably similar when they arrived in the suburbs and built their house, but they don't. Melbourne's got a reputation since the 80s and through the 90s, the last 20 years, that people are happy for the city to grow and develop, but not in my backyard is the catchphrase. And but now it's more common um, for that development to be happening, and it's unstoppable. It really is, and that's a function of our population growth. But Melbourne's economy does run, a lot of it runs on just churn of property development, knocking down perfectly good houses in a lot of cases and replacing them with even bigger houses and fewer people living in them. Anyway, um, so this is a Saturday morning, and it's getting up to around about 7:15 on a Saturday morning. So you wouldn't expect to see too much traffic, but here we are in the pandemic, and yeah, this is pandemic traffic. It's not normally this quiet now. Um, for a long, long time, at least the last 15 years, this particular stretch of road, these properties have been run down and forlorn, and how they've not been developed to this point and had townhouses or units put on, I don't know. Perhaps to do with the planning regulations of the local government. I just thought I'd, again, take the time to make sure the camera captures that there is some development underway here, and this block is a typical example of somebody looking to make some pretty decent return on investment for buying this land and banking the land and keeping it, and whatever process, the red tape and the government, the council. But I won't segue too much and digress about another topic for another channel that I'm planning to launch. But I'm planning to use this content again on a different channel, a new channel that's going to focus on property news, which will obviously hook into the finance sector and real estate sector, but I'll only be uploading to that once a week, I think. And that channel will be looking to make a dedicated, very niche link between the property available for sale, and it'll only be properties available for sale at auction, and that property's proximity to public transport. So that's why I'm taking time to film bus stops, you see, because I've just sort of, it just seems to me that no niche is too obscure or small for YouTube, and so I'm just gonna investigate it and explore it and research it and see if it's actually true. See whether there isn't. The research that I've done is, if you find a niche, and I've got a family contact who emigrated to Australia in the 80s, and he was in the software field, and he was a business development executive, and his job was to sell software to big banks and big corporations. I've never noticed that tree like that before. Isn't that odd? I've walked up this street a million times. Is that a... There you go. I've never noticed that before. Looks like it's about to just keel over. That can't be right. No, there's another tree behind. I've never noticed that before. That particular visual configuration. Anyway, so it was about this stage with the camera where I'm walking up the road because I thought that'd be more interesting, and I'm taking notice of the traffic that might speed over the hill, and also the card is winding down, but also the battery at this point is possibly about to give out. It generally goes for about an hour, and I can't get my backup that I have paid a deposit on because it's in. I did it before stage 4 restrictions, and it's well outside my 5 kilometre limit and well outside the 4 reasons I can go outside my house, and I can't get there now because we've still got 4 reasons only to go outside. So I deliberately plodded around up to these 2 trees on account of the card was running down to its 10-minute limit. And here we are on Saturday morning, and hey presto, through the magic of YouTube and editing and sleight of hand, we're now on Monday morning. It's it's about the same time, and if you were watching this intently, this footage, would you notice that the streets are drier? Would you notice that the trees don't have any rain droplets dripping off them? I'll leave that up to you. I'd be interested to know if does it really matter that much that I've filmed this over 2-3 different days? Does it really matter? I'm not sure that it does. I mean, I'm being honest about how I'm filming, so I don't know that it matters. I mean, there's more video content on YouTube that's contrived and spliced and set up and whatever, so I don't see it being a problem. And I had to go back to the shops anyway, but I've also found that this getting up to the shops here, I've been feasting on sausage rolls and takeaway coffee, which has been just a nice mental break from the lockdown that we've all had to experience. I mean, I can't think, except for the Arctic or the Antarctica, I can't think of a single place on Earth that hasn't been affected by the pandemic. And it's not really my intention to bang on too much about the pandemic because it's pretty self-evident, isn't it? Anyway, so but it's given me the time to do a lot of things this year. I've had a go at exploring another completely separate business idea in hospitality. The numbers didn't stack up for that, but it sort of got my brain going after 4.5 years of being a carer, and it was fun as well. It got me out and about and got me thinking and got me back in scribbling notes all over the place to myself that I never ever end up looking at really, but it was good for me. So the interesting thing about this shopping centre from a walking point of view is, yeah, you just suddenly got that little hole in the fence and all of a sudden you're there. And usually for me this takes 20 or 25 minutes from one end to the other, but today it's taken well over an hour because I wanted to film it properly. So I don't usually go this way. I normally go in the doorway to the left. I used to park my car well to the north of this particular section when I used to have a car in the 90s. I had 5 years living in this unit and living in this area, and then I wasn't here for 12 years. I went backpacking overseas around the world for 12 months, and then I was living in Carlton for 3 years, and then I went to Sydney for 14 months, and then I came back after Sydney, and I was just didn't want to live in a one-bedroom unit. Being in my mid-30s, I didn't really see that as it just wasn't something I wanted to do. And it was only I was away for 12 years from this area, but living in Melbourne. Yeah, this is a pretty easy place to get to, and luck's a fortune. A delivery truck appeared in front of me right at the very moment that I emerged from the car park, which was fantastic because visually that's much more interesting. Normally I never cross paths with any types of trucks on this delivery ramp, and it just made it more interesting. So it was about here. I was really conscious of walking slowly at a pace where the camera's not shaking around too much. I really am craving some viewer feedback. I see in the stats so far, I don't think the shaky camera is too much of a factor. At the moment, the stats, and I'm not a stats person, so I'm not interested in numbers or stats, but looking at the YouTube analytics desktop, it seems to me that people are accidentally discovering a lot of this content. They might watch 30 to 90 seconds. Not many people are watching more than the average viewing time is about 2 minutes 20 across the whole channel. But there's good engagement. There's a lot of views, about 50 views just from suggested videos. I'm having a lot of I'm getting a lot of traction with the keywords, and that was my main strategy at the most basic level, was to have a good set of keywords that would bring up these videos. And I'm finding that the analytics are telling me that I've got a really good hold of keywords that people are using to look for this sort of video content, and also it's crossing over into keywords for public transport and trains and buses, and that's fantastic because those keywords are helping me cross promote this from just walking video content across to public transport, because it's all the same. And somehow I've got I also see this channel being highly applicable to the tourism sector. So I've been drafting and crafting some cold call marketing, business development emails out to the tourism sector, the regional tourism areas in Victoria, because I see an opportunity. I think I might have mentioned in another video, maybe the last one, that I accidentally came across this young kid in Florida, and I must write to him and tell him, because it was a penny drop moment in that I could not believe this young guy was walking around Disneyland, and there's no one there in Florida. There's no one there, not even a Donald Trump rally. That This kid is going to Disneyland every Saturday and Sunday, and there's no one there. But what he's doing is he's filming, live streaming. He's not filming, he's live streaming with his iPhone, and he's talking to his followers and subscribers as he walks through the park. And the commentary, he's just pointing out the obvious. But it's really interesting to see Disneyland threadbare, like bereft. There's more staff than visitors. And he's got about 5,000 subscribers. People from all over the world following him walking around Disneyland. But when he gets on a ride, he stops talking so the viewer can enjoy the ride. And it strikes me that I have an opportunity with this channel to approach tourism and tourists, regional tourism officers and boards, and also individual businesses to say, look, it's been in our media the last couple of weeks that the federal government is speculating, pretty much actually saying in concrete terms, Australia's borders are going to be closed all throughout 2021. Nobody's coming here except they want the international students, of course, because our tertiary sector is almost drip dry of funds. A lot of them went home, a lot of them, even though they've gone to online, like Australia's tertiary sector, like our export sector, it's all geared towards one area of the world. The fact is that the funds that these kids pay from overseas to study here, it's a huge driver of the tertiary economy here. But from a tourism point of view, the tourism sector is like the hospitality sector. Like it's just turning into dust in front of everyone's eyes. And it seems to me like any content that's tourism related or sport related or inbound students or inbound tourists, there's going to be demand for any type of online content, anything vaguely to do with sport or tourism or tertiary education. People are going to want to know. So I figure there's a corporate opportunity. If you're in any of those sectors and you're overseas, or you're in the ed tech sector, which I'm also investigating for opportunities. If you're in any of those sectors and you want to collaborate with me from a licensing this content somehow, or you want me to specifically create a tour video. So say for example, I'm planning on approaching the Great Ocean Road. That's a well-known tourist destination for people from overseas. It's pretty, most people would be pretty familiar with it, even if you haven't been to Australia. So my plan is to approach, say, a bus tour operator that goes down to the Great Ocean Road every day, and there's quite a few of them, and say, look, well, do you want to try and leverage against YouTube as a platform, and let's adapt and adopt the strategy. And it's not even a business strategy, this kid in Florida at Disneyland, like it's proven to work. So would you be interested in partnering with Wise Words Media and have me on your tour for a day that I'll either live stream or record a full day of your tour, or just a couple of hours. I'll come as far as Apollo Bay or Lorne or Anglesey, or I'll come all the way and I'll stay overnight in Port Campbell, and we'll get some video content. And at the very least, if there's no one specifically asking for the content, maybe through a dedicated SEO and keyword strategy, if you want to just have basic at the very least have content up there, maybe people will find it. Maybe you can find a revenue stream through YouTube, or maybe you can get keep that interest going on bookings that have been cancelled. So that's my plan. Like this walking video content channel is not about just a middle-aged bloke with grey hair wandering around the streets and the shopping centres and trying to fill in time and avoid looking for a job through his commitments. No, I the thing that thrills me about this channel, which pushed me through my frustration um, the last few days, is the nice thing is a nice surprise is I can see some reward for effort and return on investment of time. Now I had some fun with this because I went in for the kill with these chairs, and I just had this picture of if there's any horror film fans out there, especially zombie films and George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. If you've ever seen that film where they basically he took over a whole shopping mall just like this, and apparently in the late 70s and early 80s in America these things weren't very common, which I find a bit hard to believe actually, because anyway, but I found it online on YouTube, would you believe, that I could watch, and I found the director's commentary as well, and it turns out that George Romero had a vague connection with somebody who actually owned the shopping mall where they ended up filming, and they filmed in the dead of winter, so the whole place was snowbound, and they filmed. It was the first film that Romero made where it wasn't filmed purely on weekends over a couple of years. Like, they had enough money to actually film, continuously. But it turns out that pretty much the whole population of that town where the mall was ended up being zombie extras. So I went up to those red scooters. I was trying to picture them in a zombie movie with zombie oldies powering around the place. So by this stage, I was making this up as I went along. I didn't really plan to film so much. Actually, what I planned to do, let me tell you what I planned to do. I was actually going to film my purchase of my breakfast, my sausage rolls and flat white. And here we are. We're up to the last 3 minutes, so I've got to wrap up here. I don't want to go over my intended time, mainly so you can concentrate on watching the teaser clip for Waterman that comes after this, if you haven't seen that. And that's going to be that's cross promotion into this public transport life, the new channel I'm going to put up. I've got 40 to 60 hours worth of footage from 4 years ago to put into that channel, and that's where I'm going to put all my creative effort into that one. But my plan was to actually film myself buying my breakfast, but with a camera in one hand, and I'm still stupidly holding my workwear gloves instead of wearing them. And then I realised, well, I just haven't got enough hands to do that. So on the spur of the moment, I decided that I would exit stage left. So at this point, I've already decided that I know where I'm going to finish the video. And so this is about maybe 7:30, 7:45, maybe not far off 8 o'clock, and there's still nobody there, and you can see all those shops are closed. That bank branch is usually open on a Saturday morning until about 1 or 2, maybe 5. They're closed. They've been closed since March. And that coffee shop was open until April, and they bugged out. I'm having a bit of fun with the credits here, as you'll see coming up. I don't know why I filmed the ATMs, but I was pretty happy to use this music. I found this. I found all of my music. There is music for your retail shopping experience. I'd done some heavy duty research into free rights music back in January, and I found as much free stuff as I could, which is about 12 to 15 tracks. And I've been listening to it on and off, mainly off, but it was great to be able to use some of it. And the other weird thing is that this track, the track that I used for the interior of the shopping centre, Vegetative State, the words are so well matched to this pandemic and coming out of lockdown. You know, we're on the move, I'm feeling nervous, I heard you're on the move. Like, the lyrics, if you listen to the lyrics, like, they're spot on. So I was patting myself on the back all the way. This is my breakfast spot. It's a nice little landscape there. So please, like and subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell. Any feedback would really be appreciated. If you'd like to collaborate or you want to license this content, please contact me. This is the bloke who walks this walking life, walking around Melbourne, Australia. See you next time.
It's Waterman. Welcome to Project Melbourne Metro Underground Rail, the site of the new Parkville station. If you come with me, we'll start right away. Waterman, yes, I'm a transport consultant to the government. It's my job to act as a liaison between STM, Asia Pacific and the government of Victoria, and the Transport Minister in particular, to advise on timelines and make sure that everything to do with the contract has been awarded to this firm, that the timeline's being met. So it's my pleasure to welcome you today as a visitor, investor from interstate and overseas. We'll be taking a short tour of the site, so if you come with me, we'll start right now. That ends our tour for today. We hope you enjoyed this insight into state government's preparations for how your investment money is being spent here at the site of the proposed new Parkville station as part of the Melbourne Metro Underground Rail project. My name's Waterman. If you have any questions, you can contact me via the Victorian State Government Department of Transport, STM Asia Pacific Construction.